Good evening. Well, good afternoon. So, change of plans. This morning's hunt saw them 7 or 8, along with them turkeys. To be quite honest, didn't feel like packing all that stuff all the way in there for the no more deer sign that I was seeing. 7 or 8 deer might sound like a good sit, but at that property, normally it's higher. So I'm just having an issue getting on deer there. Back at that property that people were running chainsaws the other day. That I got down early and had that encounter with the buck up in the field. So we're not going to get down early tonight no matter what, but last night had 5 does down here at the feeder and a buck come through. Right after, as soon as he got here, a buck came in. Couldn't really tell what he was, but definitely know it was a buck chasing does around. So cold front came through last night. I think tonight they might show up again right at the last light. Wind says out of the north, which is supposed to be blowing that way. But right now, there's hardly any wind. And we're getting some north, but we're also getting northeast, and if that keeps up, that could be perfect. Like I said before, I'm expecting deer to come from here, or like that buck was going to do the other night, come from the south and drop down in here. And where I saw him was straight up through this field, so he would have dropped down right here in front of us. Yeah, we get some northeast and we get east. Right now it's going up and drifting out to the east, so it's got potential. I keep saying that, but no luck yet. I also took a bunch of Tink 69 just for kind of some cover scent and flooded down here in the grass to give them a place to stop and focus on instead of trying to possibly smell me as they come in. So it's early, it's 1:30. I don't expect to see anything till close to last light, but in here after a buck, but I could very well shoot a doe, so I'm going to sit down, order another doe tag online, so I have it in case the right opportunity presents itself. We'll see. .39, so it's getting to be about that time. First does last night were 5:46 that the camera got a picture of. .52, a buck came, or a buck had does running. Even if that buck's on the mama doe, corn head feeder and yearlings might come through. Which will still result in a bloody arrow, so win-win. 5:08 now. Got until 5:53 for something to happen. Deer, if they do come in, are going to be facing me if they come from the direction I expect them to. So I'm going to leave this camera running the next 53 minutes. Probably end up holding my bow in my hand once it gets closer to. Unlike Bev's, and just a fun fact, to limit the amount of shaking or your arm getting tired, carpenter pants or like these bibs that have the hammer loop in it. I put my bottom limb in it and let all the weight hang on my bottom limb. Loop's too low, so my pocket will have to do. Okay, so recap. Had them 2 does. Saw the deer in the field to the south. Saw a nicer buck up to the west. Had 2 does pop out in between me and him. He had already worked off going to the west, which is nothing but a field and a tree line. Had 2 does pop out to the west, big does, giant does, and worked their way down. They were coming around to the feeder. They caught the smell of the Tink 69 Osprey. From my past experience, does do not like scents, especially stuff like that. I used it mainly for a cover scent today. She finally got over the fear and was calming down. I had her at 22 yards forever, but she was extremely jumpy. I could have made a good shot, but what happened between me letting go of that arrow and it getting to her could have been bad. So I passed. And if I shot another one, I'd be down to 1 tag in this county. So I'm not in a hurry. If she gave me a 15-yard perfect shot, I was going to take it, but not where she was at. So them 2 does, she ended up going up and smelling the area that I pinwheeled a leaf, one of my practice shots, at 20 yards, and that made her booger out to the other trail. While on the other trail, she blew a couple times, trotted off. At some point in time, they must have busted me move or something, so they blew and took off. And when she was at 22 yards there at the very end, that was it for legal shooting light. I could still see good enough to shoot, but legally it was past legal shooting light. So that was that. They go off. I look up to my right. I can see a big swollen neck, a big body, buck coming down the hill that the path those just took. He passed at 15 yards behind a cedar tree. I couldn't see exactly what he was. He trotted down, stopped. I thought he had kept going after them does. Come to find out, I was starting to pack stuff up, and somehow he caught my movement too, blew and took off. On the way out, there was 2 deer over behind the property owner's barn. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but there was a lot of information gained on that. There is a stand from a previous hunter that doesn't hunt this anymore up closer to this field that I could get an observation set in and possibly shoot a deer. It's where them deer that were out in the field were working off towards that stand. I'm going to look at the map to see what the wind is and where I could possibly sit up for where these deer are coming from. Where they came from tonight, I did not expect them to. So I don't know if they're coming over from another big woods or if they're bedding down somewhere close. So either way, in the morning might be behind that property I shot that first doe at. And depending on what the wind does, might be back in here to try to get an observation set and see, learn more about the property. Like I said before, this is the first year on the property. Unfortunately, there's always growing pains and learning curves. It doesn't seem to ever happen on deer you don't want to shoot, but once I get it figured out, it'll be a lot better. And by no means is this the way you should do it. I put a stand up where I thought would work, and it would have worked, but little mistakes cost me. With, like I said before, with all the trails going through this woods, or this thicket more so, it's going to be very hard for the wind to be consistent and capitalize off of that. Unfortunately, on some places like that, you have to go back to hunting the edges, which I don't like doing anyway. But so we picked a couple deer. I'm not sure they knew exactly what I was or where I was, but sometimes you have to spook a few to kill the one you want. So tomorrow's a new day. I'm going home, eat dinner, start looking at maps. I think that first property I'm talking about, there should be something turning up there. My lottery hunt, like you seen this morning, I saw a deer. Not the deer I wanted, but now, mind you, that buck I saw tonight was probably 125. I'll try to put a picture up. Go through the trail cam picture, put a picture up. And that by no means, if I say it's a big deer, is not. Now, don't take offense to that. A big deer, in my opinion, should be what a big deer is in your area. In my area, it's very common to see 160-inch deer. 170s, 180s is very possible. I've been fortunate to kill a couple in that caliber. So, but like I said, 120s-ish would be a good representation. And my biggest buck with a recurve to date, my only other buck is a real small basket 8-rack or 8-point. So, see what the 8th holds for me and tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys.